What if I told you the Toddlers and Tiaras kids you remember in frilly dresses and sparkling crowns are now stepping into the biggest chapters of their lives, complete with babies, weddings, and even shocking twists no one saw coming? From sweet new beginnings to jaw-dropping surprises, the past year has been packed with updates that will have you saying, "Wait, that really happened?" And today, we're diving into it all. Every familiar face you remember from the show has a story to tell, some heartwarming, some dramatic, and some that might just leave you speechless. We'll catch you up on the transformations, the milestones, and the unexpected turns that prove life after the pageant stage is just as wild as ever. So grab your snacks, settle in, and don't forget, hit that like button, tap subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update from TheFame. Because trust me, you won't want to miss a single second of what's next. First up, the name that nobody can forget. She was the breakout star, the meme queen, the little girl who turned sassy one-liners into internet history. But today, Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson is no longer the child in a tutu. She's a young woman navigating adulthood in her own bold way. And let me tell you, the past year has been one of her most defining chapters yet. Alana is now in college, thousands of miles away from the chaos of reality TV. She's traded pageant costumes for nursing scrubs, enrolling at Regis University in Colorado. For her, campus life has become a safe place, a world where classmates know her not as Honey Boo Boo, but simply as Alana. She's spoken candidly in interviews, admitting that being recognized for who she really is, outside of the family drama and TV cameras, feels like freedom. But just because she stepped out of the spotlight doesn't mean the drama has stopped following her. This year, Alana's story was retold in I Was Honey Boo Boo, a Lifetime biopic that pulled back the curtain on her childhood. She even narrated parts of it herself, giving fans a raw glimpse of what it was like to grow up famous, but not always protected. For the first time, she addressed those lingering wounds, financial disputes with her mother, Mama June, and the painful reality of losing her sister, Anna, to cancer. And then came her milestone birthday. Alana turned 20 this August, a moment fans across social media marked with an outpouring of love. She celebrated quietly in Colorado, releasing doves in honor of Anna and surrounding herself with positivity instead of chaos. What stands out most about Alana today is her determination. She's building a future in nursing, she's carving out an identity beyond reality TV, and she's rewriting her story on her own terms. The tiara may be long gone, but her resilience and her ability to make headlines has never faded. Meanwhile, another familiar face has been stepping into a whole new role, this time as a mother. Madison Tootie Berg, the bubbly competitor once known for her megawatt smile, welcomed her first child this spring. On April 30th, Madison and her husband Wes Breedlove became parents to a beautiful baby girl named Loicy Lake. Born healthy and strong, this little bundle instantly became the center of Madison's world. The joy was written all over her announcement. Madison described herself as in awe of God's goodness, and fans couldn't help but cheer as the pageant princess we once watched twirl in sequins stepped into the tender role of motherhood. Just days later, Madison gave fans an inside look at Loicy's nursery, and it wasn't anything ordinary. Forget the cookie-cutter pink and lace. She designed a room that blended rustic Montana mountain vibes with soft, girly touches. Cozy textures, natural wood, and dreamy accents filled the space, creating what Madison called a perfect mixture of Montana mountains and all things girly. Fans praised the personal touches, noting how much thought and love she poured into every detail. And Madison's updates didn't stop there. She shared heartfelt posts about those first 2 weeks with Loicy. Tiny moments that felt enormous. Sleepless nights, gentle lullabies, the quiet joy of watching her baby breathe. All captured in photos and words that radiated love.
For longtime viewers, it was surreal. The little girl once chasing crowns is now raising a daughter of her own. But Madison isn't just embracing motherhood, she's balancing it with her career. A kindergarten teacher with a master's degree in reading literacy, she spends her days guiding children in the classroom, then comes home to her own little one. On TikTok, she still shares snippets of her love story, including throwbacks from her Montana wedding with Wes, reminding fans of the strong foundation she's building her family on. Oh, and let's not forget Maple Jean, the puppy Madison and Wes adopted before Loisie's arrival, who now plays the role of big sister with a wagging tail. Madison's journey is proof of something simple but powerful. Life doesn't stop when the pageant lights fade. For her, it has blossomed into something deeper: faith, family, and the beauty of everyday moments. Together, these two stories, Alana's step into independence and Madison's leap into motherhood, show just how far the Toddlers and Tiaras kids have come. They've traded crowns for classrooms, tiaras for toddlers, and cameras for careers. And yet, their lives remain as captivating as ever.
Next up, we've got two former pageant darlings who turned their glitter into full-blown fashion empires. And trust me, their journeys are as bold as the gowns they once wore. Let's start with Isabella Bella Barrett, because if there's one thing Bella knows, it's how to command attention. Fans will remember her as the pint-sized queen with sass to spare, but today she's an 18-year-old entrepreneur who has spent the last year making headlines on and off the runway. Back in August, Bella rang in her milestone birthday with a simple but powerful message. 18 today. And that post wasn't just a celebration, it was a statement. She's no longer the kid who became a millionaire before middle school. She's a young woman stepping fully into her role as the face and the brain behind House of Barrett, her luxury fashion brand. This past year has been a whirlwind for Bella. She kicked off the fall with glossy campaigns, strutted back into Los Angeles Fashion Week, and sat down for candid interviews where she admitted the pressures of growing up in the spotlight. But she didn't shy away. She leaned in. She teased bold new suit collections, rolled out runway shows packed with energy, and even hinted that she's planning her final collection under House of Barrett. That's right, the brand that made her famous is heading toward its grand finale. But knowing Bella, that's not the end. It's just a pivot to something bigger. Her post from New York Fashion Week this February captured that excitement. Behind-the-scenes chaos, shimmering fabrics, and Bella herself beaming like the star she's always been. And fans couldn't stop buzzing. For someone who once wore crowns on TLC, Bella's crowning achievement now is proving she's more than a reality TV alum. She's a businesswoman with vision, resilience, and a flair for reinvention. And while Bella is building her empire, another familiar name has carved out her own corner of the fashion world: the unforgettable Alisandra Lyerly, one half of the iconic Tiara twins. This February marked a milestone that few can claim. Alisandra celebrated her 10th consecutive season showing designs at New York Fashion Week. Think about that, 10 seasons of turning childhood sparkle into bona fide fashion credibility. Her 2025 collection, Denim Dreams, took rhinestones and denim and spun them into bold silhouettes that shimmered under the Gothic arches of Manhattan's Angel Oranzon's foundation. The press called it electric, and for Alisandra, it was nothing short of a dream come true. But her story isn't just about clothes. It's about heart. Alongside her runways, Alisandra has continued her philanthropic work. Her Miss South Carolina St. Jude pageant has now raised over $50,000 for children's cancer research, proving that her platform isn't about more than sparkle. It's about service. Fans and critics alike have noted that philanthropy has become part of her brand, and it's made her stand out in a fashion industry that often forgets its roots. Back home, Alisandra still runs the Tiara Twins Etsy shop, which quietly marked 4 years this past August. She's balancing custom orders, college coursework, and casting calls for her next show. Oh, and speaking of school, she earned a spot on her technical college's dean's list this summer, reminding us that there's plenty of discipline behind the glamour.
Of course, fame hasn't always been easy. Just last year, her mom, Kelly, revealed that the family still gets threatening phone calls, even after all these years. It's a sobering reminder of how harsh the spotlight can be. And yet, Alisandra continues forward, poised, determined, and already planning for her September show. Together, Bella and Alisandra prove that the pageant sparkle didn't fade. It evolved. From luxury suits at Sony Hall to denim dreams in New York, these two women are redefining what it means to grow up from a TLC stage. They've traded tiaras for textiles, routines for runways, and childhood fame for fashion legacies. And if this past year is any indication, their stories are far from over.
From sparkling gowns to graduation gowns, our next update is all about stepping into adulthood with style. Let's start with Emerald Gordon Wulf. If you remember Emerald as the tiny contortionist who wowed audiences with her flexibility, you won't be surprised to hear that she's still bending expectations today. At 18, Emerald has been living a year full of milestones, and she's letting fans come along for the ride. Back in November, she shocked her followers with a bold announcement. She was packing her bags and moving to New York City for 2 whole months. For a young woman raised in small-town rhythms, the Big Apple was a whole new world. Her posts lit up with holiday lights and wide-eyed wonder. Christmas in Manhattan, she admitted, felt magical, like every corner of the city sparkled. She wasn't just sightseeing either. She popped up in radio studios, tagged by local personalities, hinting at opportunities behind the mic. By January, she bid farewell to New York with a bittersweet message. "Dear New York, I hate to leave. I have loved you." And just like that, the curtain closed on one chapter while another opened back home. Spring brought the moments every teenager dreams of. In April, Emerald posted her senior and prom portraits, glowing in designer gowns alongside her cousin Alora. And then came June, the capstone, high school graduation. With a smile and a confident caption, "I understood the assignment," she walked across the stage, leaving fans stunned at how quickly the little girl from Toddlers Tiaras had grown. But don't think Emerald is done performing. On TikTok, her jaw-dropping contortion videos rack up millions of views, even catching the attention of ESPN. Clips of her bending and twisting in impossible ways remind everyone why she was unforgettable on TLC. And now, mainstream media is noticing again. This summer, NBC's First Look tagged her in a lifestyle feature, sealing her place as a rising star outside the pageant world. For Emerald, the tiaras may be gone, but the spotlight is still very much hers. And then there's Taralyn Eschberger, the red-haired sweetheart who has transformed into a free-spirited 21-year-old with a passion for travel, music, and creativity. This February, Taralyn hit a milestone birthday, and her family couldn't stop gushing that it was the happiest she's ever been. She celebrated with laughter, memories, and reflections that marked not just the end of an era, but the beginning of adulthood. Much of Taralyn's recent life was rooted in Boulder, Colorado, where she spent the last 3 years. But this summer, she posted a heartfelt goodbye, closing out her chapter in Boulder with gratitude for all the adventures and friendships it gave her. It was more than just a move. It was a rite of passage, a moment of spreading wings. And spread them she did. In August, she was back in Colorado, swept up in the energy of the EDM scene. She gushed online about catching the eye of DJ Enzo, joking that he liked my vibe. These concerts aren't just fun for Taralyn, they're fuel. That same energy flows straight into her creative brand, TT Strippy Trinkets, where she hand makes candy, perlers, and colorful festival accessories for other music lovers. Just last week, she shared new designs, proof that her artistry is as alive as ever. Travel has been another theme of Taralyn's year.
In mid-August, she shared snapshots from Mexico, beaches, sunshine, and plenty of laughter. She even joked about breaking the old rule not to eat before swimming, embracing her carefree spirit. Whether it's paddleboarding with friends or soaking up saltwater air, Taralyn seems intent on living life fully, joyfully, and without apology. And through it all, her family remains close. This summer, she joined her parents for a Texas celebration dinner, showing that even as she charts her own path, the support system that cheered her on in pageants is still right there. Taralyn's story isn't about crowns anymore. It's about crafting a life filled with music, art, adventure, and independence. She's no longer the little girl in a princess gown. She's a young woman embracing the world with open arms. Emerald and Taralyn may have traded stage lights for city lights and festival lights, but their glow is undeniable. One dazzles with acrobatics and ambition, the other with creativity and adventure. Together they prove that growing up after Toddlers and Tiaras doesn't mean leaving the spotlight behind, it just means finding new ways to shine.
Not every former pageant star lives out loud on social media. Some choose silence, and sometimes that silence speaks volumes. Let's start with Brenna Gaskin. You might remember her as the pint-sized drama queen stomping across the Toddlers and Tiaras stage, demanding bows bigger than her head. But this past year, Brenna has kept completely quiet. No Instagram posts, no TikToks, no new interviews. Her once playful social feeds remain frozen in time, almost like she stepped back and said, "I've had enough of the spotlight." And yet, even in that silence, Brenna hasn't been forgotten. Clips of her sassy one-liners still go viral on TikTok. Fan edits rack up millions of views, and people continue asking, where is she now? Ironically, her absence has become her presence, proof that even when a child star disappears from the public eye, the fascination never fades. Whether she's in school, working, or simply living quietly, Brenna remains unforgettable. Sometimes the strongest move is choosing not to play the game at all. On the opposite end, Paisley Scott has been offering small but deeply personal glimpses into her world. The little girl with the big personality is now a young woman in her late teens, and her Instagram over the past year has reflected both carefree fun and tender emotion. In late July, she shared sun-soaked poolside photos, sand in her feet, sun in her hair, captions full of summer ease. But just weeks earlier, she hinted at something more personal, a heartfelt birthday tribute to someone special, laced with affectionate words that fans immediately speculated were about a new relationship. It wasn't an announcement, but it was enough to spark whispers. Paisley's TikTok posts have carried the same raw energy. Casual dumps of everyday life sit alongside captions that feel like diary entries. Lines like, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and "Loving him is so much better than losing him." Vulnerable, emotional, and completely different from the scripted sparkle of her pageant days. They paint a portrait of a young woman figuring out love and identity in real time. Outside of Paisley's own updates, her mom Wendy briefly returned to headlines last fall in the Vice docuseries Dark Side of Reality TV, voicing frustrations about how TLC portrayed their family. It reminded fans of the pressures Paisley grew up under and made her more personal posts today feel all the more significant. She's not performing anymore. She's just being herself. And then there's Giavanna Lyerly, the younger half of the Tiara twins. While her sister Alisandra has chased runways, Giavanna has taken a quieter, more creative route. This past year, she's leaned heavily into makeup artistry. Posts tagged Brushed by Giavanna have shown up in glossy model magazine spreads, with her credited alongside her mom, Kelly. She's building a reputation not as a former reality star, but as a working artist with her own craft. But it's not just beauty, it's brains, too.
In August, her college announced she made the president's/dean's list, proof that she's excelling academically while balancing creative pursuits. On social media, Giavanna mixes breezy fashion shots, like her casual summer Hollister collab, with dreamy, snow-dusted portraits that spotlight her artistry and confidence. Unlike her sister, she's not chasing headlines. She's building quietly, steadily, in her own lane. And for fans who remember the twins in matching gowns, it's refreshing to see Giavanna carve out a story that's hers alone. Brenna, Paisley, Giavanna, three very different updates, but one common thread. They're all showing us that life after the pageant stage doesn't have to look the same. Some step away completely, some share only glimpses, and some create a quieter kind of legacy. Together, they remind us that even without crowns or cameras, the fascination with toddlers and tiaras never really ends. Sometimes the past comes back in ways you least expect, and sometimes you get to flip the script on it. That's exactly what happened this year with Makenzie Myers. If you watch Toddlers and Tiaras, you'll never forget her. Little Makenzie, with her pint-sized sass, her independence, and her famous outbursts, became one of the most talked about kids in the show's history. Fast forward to today, and she's no longer a pageant diva. She's a college sophomore, an athlete, and a young woman proving that she gets to define who she is now. This year, Makenzie took the internet by storm once again, but not in the way you might think. Old clips of her defiant one-liners resurfaced on TikTok, going viral all over again. Suddenly, everyone was tagging her in that iconic line, "Leave me alone, people!" Instead of ignoring it, Makenzie leaned right in. She posted her own TikTok using the audio, captioning it with sharp humor. God forbid a girl have an opinion on what she wears at a young age. Fans went wild. It was the ultimate full circle moment, Makenzie taking ownership of the very footage that once defined her childhood. But her story isn't just about reclaiming the past, it's about building her future. Today, she plays infield for Louisiana Christian University's softball team, wearing number 34. Her coaches describe her as disciplined and dedicated, her teammates call her caring and funny, and her Instagram shows countless highlights from training, game days, and workouts. Off the field, she's studying nursing, a career path that's as challenging as it is rewarding. Between classes, practices, and games, Makenzie's days are full, but her social media shows a young woman grounded in who she is. On TikTok, she shares snippets of her life, sometimes reflective, sometimes just for fun, with more than 60,000 followers cheering her on. On Instagram, her feed blends dreamy photo shoots, candid snapshots with friends, and training updates, all wrapped in a vibe that says, "Yes, I've grown up, and yes, I'm still me." For fans, it's surreal. The little girl once seen as a handful is now proving that her fire was never a flaw. It was the foundation for her independence. And then there's Eden Wood, the original starlet, the little blonde bombshell who became the face of Toddlers and Tiaras before she was even in kindergarten. At 16, she had already retired from pageants. At 20, she's carving out something even bigger, a normal, vibrant college life that feels as refreshing as it is unexpected. Eden is now a junior at the University of Central Arkansas, and if you peek into her Instagram, you'll find posts that look a lot like any other college students. First day of class selfies, beach trips with friends, and sisterhood moments with her sorority, Alpha Sigma Alpha. Her captions are full of sparkle and humor. FDOC, #junior year. Or beach trip, complete with salty breezes and sunshine. This past year, Eden threw herself into Greek life. She documented bid day celebrations with confetti and laughter, semi-formals in glittery dresses, and homecoming nights filled with smiles. Through it all, you see the same sparkle she carried on the pageant stage, only now it's grounded in genuine friendship and the joy of belonging. And here's the interesting part. While so many of her fellow pageant stars are making headlines with babies, weddings, or business ventures, Eden has kept it simple. No dramatic reveals, no big scandals, just the authenticity of everyday life. And fans love it. For them, it's heartwarming to see that behind the crowns and costumes, Eden is still that bright, charismatic girl. Only now she's navigating exams, football games, and sorority rituals. She even squeezes in photo shoots with photographer friends, mixing a touch of glamour into her otherwise relatable feed. And every now and then she throws in a cheeky caption like, "Let 'em talk," reminding everyone that she's still got that signature sass. McKenzie and Eden are a perfect pairing in this update. One is reclaiming her childhood meme status and turning it into empowerment. The other is embracing a college life full of sisterhood and sunshine. Together, they show that not every story has to be filled with drama to be compelling. Sometimes the quiet chapters, the games won, the exams passed, the friendships formed, are just as powerful as the glittery ones. And for fans who grew up watching them, it's a reminder. These girls aren't just surviving the aftershocks of child stardom. They're thriving, each in their own way.
And finally, we close with the most bittersweet story of all. Because even though one of the brightest stars from Toddlers and Tiaras is no longer with us, her presence still lingers. In every tribute, every project, every memory her loved ones carry forward. I'm talking, of course, about Kailia Posey. It's been over 2 years since the heartbreaking news of her passing shocked fans around the world. Kailia was only 16, a teenager with so much life ahead of her when tragedy struck. And yet, here in 2025, her story isn't one of silence. It's one of remembrance, of resilience, and of love that continues to ripple outward. Let's begin with her mother, Marcy DeLees. Over the past year, Marcy has been transforming her grief into something tangible, something that keeps Kailia's name alive. In October, she made a bold announcement that touched the hearts of fans anywhere. She was opening a business in her daughter's honor. The project is called Kailia Sweets 2025, a bakery and catering company based in Branson, Missouri. With a glowing smile, Marcy revealed the storefront and proudly declared, "We now have Kailia Sweets Catering LLC." This wasn't just about cupcakes and cakes. It was about legacy. Each pastry, each decorated treat carried Kailia's name, ensuring that her joy, her light, and her love for life would continue to be shared with others. Fans flocked to the comments, cheering Marcy on and recognizing the courage it took to turn heartbreak into creation. For Marcy, it wasn't just a business. It was therapy. It was purpose. It was a way of saying, my daughter may be gone, but her spirit is still here. Then came April 19th, 2025, what would have been Kailia's 19th birthday. For the Posey family, birthdays are no longer just cake and candles. They are days of remembrance. On this date, Marcy invited friends, family, and fans to wear gold, Kailia's color, and gather in Branson to celebrate her. The imagery was powerful, shimmering gold outfits, golden balloons, and a community coming together, not in mourning, but in honor. It was a promise that Kailia would never be forgotten. But Kailia's memory isn't kept alive by her family alone. Her pageant coach and close friend, Cambry Littlefield, has been vocal about carrying Kailia with her. In May, Cambry announced that she was expecting a baby girl. And in a heartfelt moment, she told her followers her middle name should be Kailia. It was tender, emotional, and proof of just how deeply Kailia had touched her pageant family. Weeks later, Cambry shared another post, celebrating our girl, alongside old teammates and friends, glasses raised to the star they all loved. Meanwhile, Kailia's legacy lives on through something bigger than any individual, the Kailia Posey Teen Crisis Intervention Fund. Established right after her passing, the fund supports teens in crisis, aiming to give help and hope
to those who might feel alone. Though there haven't been splashy headlines this year, the fund is still active, still receiving donations, still working quietly in the background to ensure that Kailia's story saves others. It's a living legacy, proof that even out of tragedy, healing can be found. And then there are the smaller, quieter tributes, the ones that fans might miss if they're not looking. A repost of Kailia's old pageant videos with captions like "Gone, but never forgotten." Birthday wishes written by friends who still tag her account, which now stands as a digital memorial. A golden balloon floating in the sky, captured in a snapshot by a local supporter who simply wanted to say, she mattered. In Branson, Missouri, where Marcy has planted new roots, Kailia's presence feels almost woven into the town itself. Through the bakery, through community events, through remembrance gatherings, her name is spoken often, her smile remembered vividly. For locals, Kailia isn't just a reality TV memory. She's a daughter of their community, gone too soon, but forever a part of their story. As for her fans, they've kept her spirit alive in their own way. TikTok compilations of her iconic grinning girl gif still go viral. Her performances from Toddlers and Tiaras are rewatched with bittersweet nostalgia. And on every post that mentions her, the comments flood in with the same two words, rest easy. Kailia's update this year is unlike any of the others we've shared. There are no new milestones, no weddings, no babies. But in many ways, her story is the most powerful of them all. Because it reminds us that even when a life is cut short, the impact of that life can stretch endlessly forward, through family, through friends, through fans, and through every person who hears her name and chooses to remember her with love. So as we close this video, we honor Kailia not with tears alone, but with gratitude for the joy she brought, the smile she shared, and the legacy she left behind. She may no longer walk among us, but her light still shines. And there you have it, the roller coaster ride of the Toddlers and Tiaras family in 2025. From Alana, Honey Boo Boo, Thompson stepping into adulthood on her own terms, to Madison Tootie Berg embracing motherhood, to Bella Barrett and Alisandra Lyerly dazzling on the runway. These once tiny stars are making big moves. We've seen Emerald Gordon Wulf graduate with flair, Taralyn Eschberger dive into music and travel, and Brenna Gaskin remind us that silence can sometimes be the loudest statement. Paisley Scott opened her heart with vulnerable posts, while Giavanna Lyerly quietly carved out her own creative lane. Then there's Makenzie Myers, reclaiming her childhood moments with power, and Eden Wood shining in college life with everyday joy. And of course, we ended with Kailia Posey, a tribute that proves love and legacy never fade. Tiaras may have been their beginning, but life has given each of them a whole new crown. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to TheFame, and tap the bell so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below. Tell us which update surprised you the most. And stay tuned, because our next video takes you behind the scenes of another reality TV family you won't believe. Until then, this is TheFame. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.